Hello everyone, my name is Mad Scorpion and welcome back to another week in Destiny. Now, really quick, just some things going by in terms of the event in case you haven't been keeping track of the news. It is week 2 of Festival Lost, which means next week on Halloween, the last week will begin. But at the same time, a few of the issues that have been resolved is the bugs with progress in a variety of Festival of the Lost events. Like I know the headless, or the heads will roll one was bugged, only working in certain places, and a variety of other bugs have been fixed. I can personally say mementos are grindable. I've gotten another 2 or 3 mementos out of engrams, and they also seem to be dropping at a pretty decent enough rate, like maybe 1 in 4. But at the same time, there is one bug that I'm seeing to notice, and that is of all the weapons that drop from Festival of Lost, there's a ton of grenade launchers, and then more Macabres and Jurassic Greens, and barely any horror stories, which is going to be annoying considering that's where I kind of want them to drop, because I want a better horror story. But aside from that, into the world of Destiny at large, there's currently a Valor booster going on, which, per the usual, means if you want to grind out your Crucible ranks, now is the time to do it. And with that, there is also rotating Team Scorched, as well as Clash for our 6v6 Relentless mode, and our Crucible Lab 6v6 is just kind of blank. So I'm not sure if there's anything going on in there aside from the usual thing. And because no Iron Banner, that means Trials will also be active this weekend. Now, in terms of the Nightfall strike, just getting into it, we just came out of a double loot weekend. So remember, loot's going to be a little bit limp this time around. But the weapon for focusing is the Swarm. And I believe Buzzard is no longer dropping Adept for the rest of the week, and if you want to get your hands on the Buzzard, you'll still have time, and that will rotate out, and you'll still be able to focus it. Same with the Swarm. This is the last week for the Swarm for the Adept version. When it rotates out of weekly playlist, you'll be able to find them here in the Legacy, which will be a little bit more expensive, but at the same time, it won't be Adept either. It'll just be the basic role. On that note as well, we'll probably get 2 more things as assumed. Whether it's new or returning is for Bungie to tell us in the future. But we can expect to see more of the Loaded Question, Warden's Law, and Prey Astyanax, I believe, because I think Braytek Osprey has already rolled by this season, but it will be available next season. On that note, though, if you want to actually farm out Swarm in its lesser form than last time, it is currently the Heist Battlegrounds for Europa, which of all the Heist Battleground GMs, I think this is the more consistently moderate difficulty. Like the Moon one is hard up until the boss, which is honestly a little bit easier. And same with Europa, it's kind of a moderate hard. There is definitely a lot of ads everywhere, but it's manageable, so just getting through it isn't too terrible. Modifiers including all 3 elemental shields, barrier, and unstoppable champions, because they're mostly fighting Hive the whole way. Solar threat for incoming solar damage to be boosted. Usual Grandmaster modifiers, including Fire Pit for Acolyte spawning fire pools when defeated. Chaff for no radar. And then our usual seasonal overcharge, Strand Surge, Arc Surge, and Overcharge Fusion Rifle. So, specifically linear fusion rifle. So if you want to pull out a few linear fusion rifles and just go to town on the final boss, there you go. Then, in terms of Gambit, nothing new in Gambit. And then, in terms of Crota, just starting up with our rotation, Crota's end is currently on the Precarious Balance Challenge, which is Second Encounter Bridge Challenge. And as well, with Master Mode, like I said, it is Recovery-focused armor, and before it is the rotation, there is a knockout and then a random drop. So if you're hunting Adept weapons from Crota, if you haven't gotten something, you'll get it before getting a repeat. And as well, going through it, we have Arc and Solar Shields as usual. It says all 3 champions, but I'm pretty sure there's no overloads anywhere in here. And then Strand and Arc Surge with Overcharge Shotgun for Crota's End Master Mode. And while we're here, our weekly farming exotic mission is Presage, which means if you want any of the gear from Season 17, aka the Menagerie and Haunted gear sets, that is available for Red Border farming, as well as the Dead Man's Tale, Red Border and craftable versions, and intrinsic upgrades in the Legend mode. But from that frame point as well, in terms of our rotation raid, I believe it's all the way back around, unless, no, I'm mistaken. I actually know, it is back to Deepstone Crypt. So if you wanted to farm out Deepstone Crypt, all challenges are active, which means red borders are pretty easy to find. You just got to put in the time and work on every challenge. So there you go, in case you're still hunting any red borders, especially a bequest or a commemoration. Those are actually very solid and pretty easy to farm. But then getting throughout the rest of the world, our weekly farming dungeon is actually the Shattered Throne, which is pretty much one of the easiest to do. If you wanted to get some easy pinnacle gear for your lower light friends, this is a good one to get them through. Plus, Wish Ender is the source of this raid. If you haven't gotten them Wish Ender, go get it now while you have a reason to. And then for the same time, Last Wish is our current challenge is Forever Fight, which I forget what that one is. I want to say that's freaking... what's his name? Morgoth challenge, but I'm not entirely sure. Then we also have 0 to 100 for Garden of Salvation, which is the final boss challenge. Basically, you have to fill the pylons from 0 to max at within 30 seconds of starting. And then, like I said, it is active on Neomuna, so that is full. But just darting throughout the worlds on Neptune for Root of Nightmares because they fixed them. It is Cosmic Equilibrium Challenge, which is Third Encounter Planets Challenge. Then, in terms of our Legends tab for Vault of Glass and King's Fall, Vault of Glass currently has the Strangers in Time challenge, which is Gatekeeper challenge. Basically, you have to kill the Wyvern and Gatekeepers at relatively the same time in the different time planes. And for King's Fall, we have the Gaze Amaze challenge, which is Golgroth challenge. Basically, you have to be in the Corrupted Light buff when the gaze is taken away from you. On that same note, then going throughout the last couple of bits, for the Throne World in Vow of the Disciple, it is Looping Catalyst challenge, which is Rolk challenge. A real easy one to do. Basically, just don't screw up, don't lose a leeching buff, and you'll get it done pretty easy in case you want some extra loot from there. Now, thinking throughout the rest of the world, that is pretty much everything in terms of raid encounters. For Dares of Eternity Legend Mode, kicking this off right off the bat. Legend Mode, Rotation, Cabal, Taken, and Crota. And like I said, with seasonal events and at the Festival Lost stuff, like I said, Haunted Sectors is just a grinding playlist, but Legend Lost Sectors, those rotate every 150 minutes. So these will be available at all points throughout the day. You don't have to wait for a daily reset, you just have to wait until it rotates out in a day. So if you start around reset, you'll probably rotate through all 4 of the zones before dinner. With that as well, into the seasonal stuff. Let's see here at the helm. So, of course, Savathûn Spire Legendary, there is some stuff, Altars of Summoning, as well as everything else. Let's see, Legendary Savathûn Spire, Overload Barrier, let's see, Arc Threat, Strand, Arc Surge, as well as Overcharged Machine Gun for that. And for Legendary Salvage, our current rotation is Fallen, Site Security, Site Reliability, Engineering, and the Taken Ogre Urgotha. And then the usual seasonal offerings is pretty much the same. Now, this is the last week of Triumphs newly available. We won't be getting any more of this. So if you want to get the seasonal goal of the large pile of Bright Dust, you have to work through everything that's available. So you won't have anything new. Now, we also have new challenges. We have Great Sword Logic. Defeat bosses and mini-bosses anywhere in the system. Bonus progress for defeating Headless Ones in the Haunted Lost sectors during Festival of the Lost, as it was known. Then we also have Hive Eradicator. Defeating Hive anywhere in the season. Earn bonus progress for defeating Hive in Season of the Witch activities or in Haunted Lost sectors during Festival of the Lost. I don't know if Headless Ones count for that, but just assume. Then we also have Throne World activities for in the Throne World completing bounties and earn progress by completing patrols, public events, and looting Lost sectors. Then with Mean and Green, getting final blows with strand weapons or abilities specifically in the Crucible. So, you gotta do some Crucible for that. And we also have Bring a Sword, which is getting final blows with swords, earning bonus progress in Haunted Lost sectors. So that's a pretty easy one to do. And then we also have Primary School for getting final blows with primary ammo and ritual activities, earn bonus progress for SMG, bow, or scout rifle final blows, or by defeating Guardians. So a lot of the challenges in here are pretty solid enough to just do naturally. Obviously, you can do a bunch of these and just Haunted Lost sectors and get them done. And of course, there's some drops for additional Bright Dust in case you wanted to farm out the Eververse store while it is still festival and limited time only stuff in there. From that respect as well, just getting on throughout the rest of the world. I already visited Ada, so I know what she's got. I'll still run down and pet the dog and show you. But aside from that, what Banshee has to offer. Now, on the front page is his usual, just assortment. Now, remember, Banshee's getting a rework. He's going to be getting focusing, so this will change soon when it comes to the reset. I'm not exactly sure what to do, especially. I know he's getting a daily sort of rotation swap, but I'll adapt to that as I go forward. On his front page, he has Whispering Slab, Kinetic Lightweight Bow. Pretty outdated from seasonal rivals. No origin trait. Pretty weird design, but at the same time, I think some people still think it's the best. Shattered Cipher, which is a rapid-fire void machine gun from Season of the Splicer. Again, outdated, no origin trait. It had a weird combination of perks that, compared to things like Commemoration, it is not exactly standoutish. And we also have Staccato 46, a pretty solid roll here if you're looking for a starting solar primary, which is pretty easy to find nowadays though. I also have Escape Velocity, which, going back to one of my most recent video, is one of the few things that still has access to ready available scopes. But aside from that, pretty solid SMG. This roll is pretty solid for the PvE side, and I think going through Legend Lost sectors when it's SMG for options. Then we also have Widow's Bite, and once again, same argument. It's quite outdated, quite old perks. While it has some pretty solid options, if you wanted something newer, Irukanji is still pretty much current and has better perks around. Then in terms of main updated weaponry, we have NEOD, a basic Hake SMG precision frame. Solid enough roll for everyday use, but it doesn't exactly shine in any particular place. Then we also have our Vandal FR6, which is one of the solid ones, even with the chill clip nerf. It still handles pretty well with a variety of perks to help it by. This actually is a pretty solid perk, plus it is a fusion rifle that if you manage to get used to the slow charge time, you can get some nasty stuff off of it. Then we also have Funnel Web, everyone's favorite SMG ever since losing the Recluse, which still, to me, feels like a pea shooter, but, you know, good enough perks here and there. Just kind of wish it was craftable. Then we also have Harsh Language, which is a newer update to an old version. Waveframe Void Grenade Launcher, pretty solid. This is one of the few kinds in its existence, as well as having the field-tested trait in things like this role, especially Envious Assassin. Things can get pretty interesting with that. And then we also have Palmyra B, which while this roll is pretty weird, at the same time this is craftable, so if you want to get your hands on a few red borders and just make it your own, then that would probably be a better option if you're looking for a quick damage rocket. And then Nazridin, which is a basic arc uppercut sword, really nothing to write home about. Pet the dog. And then to wrap up the Color Fest with everything, there is a variety of limited time cloaks and stuff. So I guess it is unique old Tangled Shore gear and Memory of Cade stuff. So for the armor, it's kind of weird looking now that I look at it. But then for our shaders, it is New Age Black Armory, which is a nice solid black and red. If you can get by the weird Radiance Wave effects that are present, this could be a solid look for almost any weapon or any pair of armor, just because of the solid enough look. And then we also have Arctic Dreamscape, which if you ever wanted to look like an Arctic camo permanently, this would be a good one for you, although it is kind of hard to make mesh well with a variety of armors now that I look at it. And then we also have New Monarchy Allegiance, one of the old faction shaders from Season 3, which is a unique look. I'm not going to lie, a lot more orange and red. It reminds me of the inverse of Valkyrie 0, but at the same time, still a pretty solid enough look in case you wanted to splooge up some armor looks. With that is pretty much everything in the reset. Now, of course, Festival of Lost has kind of calmed down. They've fixed a few things, and as much as the grind is definitely slowing down as everything is completed, there's still a few things to get a hold of. I'd recommend doing it before they go away, because like I said, Lost Mementos are limited time, and the same thing with everything else regarding this event. If you don't get it now, you can't get them again until next year. With that, my name is Matt Scorpion, and I will see you in the next video.